Hi. So I'm Jack, and this week for people in school, we are interviewing Lindsay. Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
everybody. Hi, yeah. So, I am Lindsey. I actually invest out of a state and I live in California. So, I started my real estate journey about 2 years ago, 2022. And this is how it's going. I recently joined the Skool Community too. It's been like less than a month, I think.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely thankful to have you join us. So whenever you're ready, we'll start the little questionnaire.
Okay.
So what are some of your hobbies and interests?
Honestly, right now, everything that I consume is real estate related. So I am the most boring person ever because I'm always on my computer just listening to podcasts, of people going live and just talking about their journey. When I'm in the car, I'm like tuning into like bigger pockets. It's just pretty much, I don't really have a social life right now.
Yeah, I kind of am the same way. People will ask me at people at work will be listening to their music and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, what type of music do you listen to?" I was just like, um, "Is real estate podcast a genre?"
Yeah, I was telling my boyfriend, I don't remember the last time I listened to a song, and every time he drives, he listens to music, and I'm like, oh, wow. Maybe I should, like, sometimes in between, try to put on something to, like, change it up and relax. But I find it soothing. I don't know, listening to other people not struggle per se, but like going on through problems and trying to solve those problems.
Some people I like listening to also because they have a calming voice too, like Marco Shear, financial firefighter, um, Frank, old guy REI. They have such a calming voice that it's kind of hard to be upset or mad about something when you listen to the voice of like this.
Yeah, I
Uh,
really like the style of Frank the Firefighter. He's always just like chilling. I mean, I don't know if that's the Hawaiian lifestyle or something, but he's always like very calm, just like, oh yeah, that's how I did this. And
so the next question is, who is your personal inspiration in life?
you know, this question was really hard for me because I don't think I have a particular person in mind, but there's definitely qualifications and attributes that I admire in different people. Um, And for example, this might not be not very traditional, but I like people that are living a nomadic lifestyle in which
Okay.
just they live out of the backpack and go. I follow this influencer called Richard Garcia, and he basically, it's a real estate investor too. And he retired out of real estate investing and he travels to different countries and lives there for like 6 months, a year at a time. And he travels with his wife and his two kids, and they just live out of suitcases. And for me, that's like, wow, amazing how detached you are from like materialistic things and normal things that people like end up getting caught up like here in America and in the United States.
Yeah, that's one thing.
So
That's one thing for me I learned when I used to travel for a living. I used to be gone for like 6 or 7 weeks at a time. And it got to the point where I got, I was investing at that time. So I made a stupid move, but I sold the place I was living at that time and actually moved back in with my parents because I was gone so much. I was living on my suitcase, and I started to learn how you don't really need everything that people carry around with them.
yeah. I don't know if it's a generation thing, but millennials tend to be a bit minimalistic as opposed to the people before us, like the generation before us. And that's basically what I live by too. Like I only have one TV in my house, and I don't know if that's like normal, abnormal, but that's all I need, honestly.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I actually live out of whatever my smallest unit that needs work, doing live-in a live-in house hack type of thing or rehab. But that's kind of what I end up doing is I live in the smallest one that needs the most amount of work. And at some point, I want to do the ultimate house hack, which is don't even live in the house, but live in the camper van in the driveway.
Mm. Yeah, I admire people that have like hashtag van life. I always tell my boyfriend, I was like, you should just buy a van and rehab it and just like, go all around America and stay in a state for like a month every single time. And then just, I think that's exciting. Not everybody agrees with me, obviously.
Yeah, I think America is definitely a beautiful place, and I know for me, I can't wait to be out on my W-2 so I can start to appreciate more of it.
Same.
Uh, what is your why?
Yeah, my why is basically where I come from, my background. I am an immigrant to the United States. I grew up in a very poor country and a very poor family. And even though we were never homeless, we did struggle growing up. We, ate out of shelters. And at one point, we got the opportunity to come here to America. My parents took such a challenge for them because they were in their 50s and they came to a country in which they didn't even speak the language and to provide opportunities that we didn't have back at home. And thanks to that, I was able to study here, go to college, get a job. But I still very much remember growing up with an empty refrigerator. I remember keeping a budget to buy milk, ration out milk. I remember turning off all the lights so we don't spend any more electricity. It's just that is by my why. That is I need to keep on going because I was given so much.
That's really awesome.
And I live in the most expensive state, which is California. So sometimes I go to the grocery store and they're like, oh, well, if you do you want the regular eggs or you want like the pasture raised chicken eggs, and I want the pasture eggs chicken eggs. I want the hormone free eggs. Like it's just so much money to live here.
Yeah, I don't know, I've always been spoiled in that aspect because where I'm at, there's so many farms and stuff that you could very easily outsource and not necessarily need to have to go to stores and stuff. And learning at a young age, like how to can dehydrate food and all that kind of stuff. I hear different people, especially in more expensive states, saying, "I spent $8 on a dozen of eggs." It's just like, really, I traded a loaf of bread I made yesterday for a dozen of eggs.
Wow, that's amazing. No, yeah, it is quite expensive here. And then they say like health is wealth, right? And all of these problems come up from like poor eating, poor lifestyles, and just you're just trying to get through the day and then do your best and cook a good meal, healthy meal, and then you can't really.
Yeah, I definitely want to try and implement. I've gotten away from it some, but I definitely want to get back more into it. I'm just trying to figure out how I can do the gardening while constantly moving. I know it sounds a bit weird, but I'm actually trying to find like a broke down horse trailer or something I can cut the roof off of and put in like a watering system and then grow my plants in there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have that green hand yet. But I would like to have chickens at one point.
You know what? At first, I didn't like chickens because they're kind of messy and they're dirty to clean up after. But then, like when I didn't have the chickens, I realized how many bugs were around. So I started liking the chickens again.
Mm. Yeah.
Do you currently have a buy box? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, I currently only buy single families and a small multi-families.
Okay.
and I actually invest in just one market, and it's in Indiana, Gary.
Oh, okay, okay.
Hmm.
For there's so many Indianas around me. For some reason, my first thought was, oh, that's not too far. It's only 45 minutes from me, thinking Indiana County in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
And I was like, oh wait, no, she's not talking about that. She must be talking about Indiana State.
right.
I, I, I don't know. My brain took a brain fart and went took a left where it was supposed to make a right.
Yeah, yeah. A little further than 45 minutes.
How does that work for you? Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, actually, I was following Millennial Mike on YouTube, and I also followed Maskey, the finance guy, even though he's not a finance guy. Um, and then so I started when I was looking to invest, I started looking in Chicago because I can really any afford any rentals in California. I do have a primary residence, but I cannot come up with the money to like buy another property in my area, or at least like an hour away from my area. So I started looking out of state, and I flew to Chicago quite often for work. And so I started looking at the market, but Chicago is very like, oh, one neighborhood is good, one neighborhood is bad. So I wanted to be more of have somebody that's like already knows the state and the streets. So I started looking like it was Chicago downtown is quite close to Indiana. And since I was already looking at videos of Millennial Mike and Maskey, the finance guy, I realized they were investing pretty close to downtown Chicago. So I just, reach out to them, talk to them, ask them like what kind of things they were doing, what are they investing on, and who are their realtors, what are the property management like, and that's how basically I ended up in that market.
That's awesome. Yeah, but Millennium Mike is awesome. I don't have any experience with the other person though, but I know if you reach out to Millennium Mike with a question or something, it may take him a minute or two to get back to you, but he always gets back. He loves helping people.
He does. He did help me a lot.
So then, did you start investing before you started the Skool Community then? Since you already,
Yes, 2 years ago.
so so how far or along in your journey would you say you've owned your properties and stuff? I'm sorry.
I think I'm barely starting. I think I only have 2 years, but I think I took a break from the first to the second property, like from 2022 to 2023. And basically, took a whole break just because, the first property that I bought was $135,000. And so I had to put 25% down, which was like $33,000, which was a chunk of money for me. And I wanted to recoup some of the money back and before I started, investing again. And that took a whole year in terms of confidence. Even though I was able to rent it out rather quickly, I still wanted to like stabilize myself first before going into my next one. And so was one property in 2022, a second property in 2023, and I started continue investing this year.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta make sure you have the reserves. You don't want to just keep go and end up burning yourself out.
Hmm.
Do you have any books, podcasts, and other things like that you would recommend to other people?
The first book I read on finance, the name was A Simple Path to Wealth.
Okay.
And this book just talks about investing in general. It's actually a PDF somebody sent me. They're like, oh, you looking into where to put your money. Let me send you this book. And I read it. It was like 200 pages, and basically it was saying like you have to have FU money in order in order to be okay with moving jobs to just in case, like more so an emergency fund, you have to have that cushion if anything happens in your life. And how can you, start investing? So I started investing like initially in retirement accounts and brokerage accounts before I move on to real estate. After reading that book, and I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of information out there for free. So let me find out what else is going on. What else is the rich investing in? And I found a bunch of books from Bigger Pockets, like long distance real estate investing or flip your future, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Millionaire Next Door, I think. And so I just like read through those books and where it's like, oh wow, where does this work? Because it doesn't work in California. So let me find out. So this is where I ended up checking out Bigger Pockets podcast and trying to find people online they had YouTube channels that were starting because I was also starting. And so I needed somebody that would explain everything, break down everything step by step. And 2 years later, I found, the Skool Community and one rental at a time. And obviously, this is a niche community, I feel like, 'cause even in our school, we only have 200 members, which is a lot, but everybody is like actually actively doing stuff. We're just not joining because we're just looking at something. So,
Yeah, and the other thing is like we all do different things differently. Like we all have our own journeys. We could all combine different strategies together, which makes each one of us like have a very special opportunity to share what we know, so that information can be combined into someone else's journey.
yeah. Initially, I was intimidated because I think Michael Zuber, he puts out the financial daily news like videos every day, and I was like, oh wow, this is too much. I'm only trying to buy one house. I can see the whole economy. Like I can, like the news that he puts every day. I was just like, okay, I'm way over my head. But then I started seeing how many people reach out to him or comment, on Facebook, and you're like, oh, like, okay, this is way more of a safe space.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, I know like when I first started listening to Zuber, I had a hard time understanding what he said until I kind of understood the vocabulary a little bit. And even then, like trying to get like up to speed of what everything meant and how to apply everything, it took me a bit to find my own niche and truly understand what he was saying in the daily financial.
Yeah.
Do you have by chance a favorite guest that's on the ORAC community?
I just heard the interview with the Lacey REI girl. I think it was done just a few days ago. And I really liked that interview because this is the first time I heard somebody. I work in healthcare and she also works in healthcare. And then she's way down in her journey. Like she's already retired. She's not even really looking for deals or looking to expand her real estate more. She's more on like what she described as being in the waiting room of her life, in which she just, she doesn't really have to work for any extra income and she just chilling and waiting for whatever project that's going to feed her soul and to jump on. And that's somebody that I can definitely relate to because I work in a healthcare community, still work in a healthcare community since I was like 23. So I know what the hustle and bustle and the struggle of working um, with people that are like basically in the worst state of mind that they could be, physically and mentally. And I know the toll that it takes on me mentally and physically as well. And so for me to potentially in the future be in the waiting period of my life, it sounds amazing because like I want to be in a place of which I choose to do the things that I want to do and I feed what makes me happy and pour in everybody else's cup because I am full.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the other thing about healthcare is, and people don't talk a lot about it, is just how much of a physically demanding job that is.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to try and get out of it before you start to show a lot of the physical wear and tear on your body from years of doing it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'll get out of it fully, but I mean, eventually, I think like as nurses that go into the profession to try to help people, and that sentiment's still there, but there's many things that burn you out, and to become, to work optional or work one day of the week or continue to do the thing that, you feel reward after, but not being chained to like, oh, I need to hit my 60 hours this week because if not, I'm not going to be able to live a good life. Then that's when the problem comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing now where I currently work, they got rid of the overtime. There's people having a meltdown over it because they can't work 60, 70 hours a week. And I don't know, it's kind of it saddens me because like some of these people are getting up there in years and it's just they shouldn't be worried about trying to work 60, 70 hours in a week when they probably only have like, a decade or two left of their life.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, right now I'm in my 30s, but what's gonna happen when I'm in my 60s? Am I gonna be standing on my feet for 12 hours trying to pound on people's chests to bring them back alive? Like, no, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I mean, I shouldn't have to be able to do that. I should be able to enjoy my 60s. I don't.
So who is someone that you would like to see Zuber interview?
I think that he started doing those rookie interviews
Okay.
for every single member. So that's actually what I think it just started like 2 weeks ago. But I'm very interested in looking at that because I'm in the beginning of my journey. I'm like only 2 years in. So I really want to see how's everybody doing, basically, and the beginning as well, because we have a bunch of questions, obviously, and we don't have as much, what does it become? The funding problem of real estate. It's something that I need to get involved into more because most of the things that I've been doing are self-funding. So I would like to grow more smart, I guess. That's the way to put it. So I would like to see that more of the rookie interviews.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like watching this too. I like just kind of seeing where people are and stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of like I like to see people not making the same mistakes that I made because when I first started, I wasn't watching ORAT, and I like to see people not making those same mistakes that I made.
Mm, yeah.
What are some of your goals? Like your some of your 5, 10 year goals.
Well, my goal is to keep on buying real estate and eventually be able to replace my income. Not particularly because I want to leave my job, but replace my income to have more flexibility and also help my parents retire. So that's kind of like along the lines of in 10 years, I would like to be able to do that. And it's, it seems like it's going to happen through real estate only.
Yeah, most people or a lot of people, I forget what the statistic is. I think it's like 80% of people, 90% of people get their wealth through real estate. But it's once you get wealth that people start to diversify into stocks and other things. But I don't think a lot of people realize just, I mean, we do because we're all part of the same community. But I just don't think it's general knowledge that most people get their wealth actually through real estate.
Yeah.
So are you going for a early retirement or a better retirement or a combination of both?
I'm going for work optional.
Okay.
Yeah, work optional. I work with mental health. So at one point in my life, I would like to start a nonprofit, try to bring psychiatric services to the people that need it, or any kind of therapeutic services. And I think that would be like my pleasure project. And I want to be able to do that while still, not having to worry about maintaining a W-2 job or having to work full time.
Now you talked before about being in the medical field. Is that your area of specialties?
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. And if you could imagine, I think you already talked a lot about this already, but you're talking about doing the nomad more lifestyle for your retirement. Is there anything else you would do with that, or
No, I really like the idea of having uh just living out of a backpack and then moving to, go all around America and then go all around the world after. Live in different countries, learn new languages. I think that's exciting and really, really it's a benefit for you culturally as well. Like, I believe that there's a lot of focus on consumerism and having things as opposed to like having experiences. And really, in your deathbed, which I seen many people, nobody regrets, oh, like, oh, I should have bought that Chanel bag, damn me, or whatever. It's always like, I should have spent more time with my children. I should have spent more time with my friends. If I only had 1 year, I could do it all again. And it's always that for me. Like, I want to be able to be a pillar in my family and in my community of like a resource, not just on real estate, but on everything. And then, and then so be better.
you kind of have me wondering now, how hard would it be to ship a van overseas?
Well, you can park it, I guess, and then just travel regularly.
And what would you say your 50-year legacy looks like? Yeah,
Yeah. But you know what? I never thought about something like a legacy, something that you leave behind, for other people to be carrying on. I don't know, actually. I don't haven't thought about my life of my legacy in terms of everything. I hope that I just opened a YouTube channel and I'm posting videos and of my journey in real estate and how I learn how to invest and how I'm possibly making mistakes, but how I'm also, falling down and getting back up. And I hope to have, transmit the courage to people if they are thinking about it and or if they're doing it, talk to people while they're doing it and just help each other out. It's not easy to learn this. It's not easy to feel motivated and just, do all the things because most of us, we have regular jobs and we work already and we have families and we have things to do and all those requirements of society that you have, and now you're also picking up a real estate investing career. That's another job, and for some people, it's just overwhelming, and I understand that too.
I think I think for me it's kind of along the same lines where it's just you kind of want to just leave this place better than when you left it. Like when you're backpacking or you're camping, you try to clean up the garbage and stuff. But for people like us that are starting to do the YouTube channels and stuff, we're not necessarily doing it to get wealthy off of it. I don't ever expect to see a penny off my channel, for example. I just don't. It will never. I don't see it ever getting that big. but I want people to relate to the content. I would like to maybe publish a book or two. I want to spread the knowledge that I've had in this stuff because most people have heard of Zig Ziglar. And granted, he passed away, I think, in early 2000s, up to 2010 or something, and people still talk about him almost 20 to 30 years later. But he was iconic big through the 80s and and even somewhat into the 90s because stopped kind of doing shows because he's getting old. I think he was coming down with whatever illness he had as he passed away. But people still talk about him in his early careers and how the stuff is still applicable till today, all his teachings and stuff. And that's kind of what Zuber's doing too in this community. And I can see this community actually lasting longer, way longer than Zuber. And eventually we're going to be the people that end up carrying it on, and someone behind us is going to be carrying it on. And it's
Mhm.
going to be just a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. That's why I joined.
So do you have any questions?
Yeah, I don't know much about you. Can you just give me a little brief
Sure,
resume shot?
sure. So I invest here in Pittsburgh. It's my hometown. I just went and invested it in the area I knew where I grew up. Um, I was born and raised here. I let's see, I enjoy the outdoors, camping, fishing, hiking, hunting, all that kind of stuff. I try to apply a more simplistic lifestyle and our high-paced function society while still being a part of it. And what else would you like to know?
Are you going to the biggest conference next year?
Yes, I am. I still have to book a
Okay,
plane
good.
ticket, but I'm going out.
I'm gonna try to make it too.
I'm getting shirts for a couple shirts for my channel. I was thinking about instead of wearing a name tag, just wearing my shirt a couple or my
Oh,
shirt
yeah.
each day.
Yeah, I think Michael Silver was saying we're getting name tags for our name and also for our, I guess, Instagram handle or YouTube channel.
Plus, I figure if I wear the channel that is on my or the sorry, the hat that's on my channel is what I meant to say. It'll be real easy to spot me in a crowd. It's like a Indiana Jones adventure hat type of thing. I'm sure no one else is going to have
Oh,
a
I think
goofy
I've seen
weird
it. I
hat
think
like
I've
that.
seen it on your other videos. Yeah. I was just like, oh, that looks like a cool hat.
I buy weird hats. I just like weird hats.
That's your thing.
But like this is probably one of my favorite ones. It's the Boston Scally Blood Rose. I love maroon.
Well, hopefully we see each other then.
All right, awesome. I definitely look forward to it.
Oh yeah, you don't mind if I plug in my YouTube channel real quick?
No, go ahead. I always forget to ask.
No worries. I'm at Lynn Does Investing, and that's Lin Does Investing. And I don't have a lot of videos, but guys, it's coming. It's coming.
Well, thank you. We'll have to have you on again.
Thank you.